Salutations, everyone. Welcome to our group discussion where we discuss and analyze the case of Victoria Barrientos versus Transfiguracion Daarol. This is 218 SCRA 30 promulgated on January 29th, 1993. But first, I'd like to introduce myself. My name is Michael Hermano. I'm your facilitator for this presentation. And together with me are my group mates, so we have Mr. Janelle Borong, Ms. Chari Daplin, Mr. Markin Suliano, Miss Mel Laquindanum, Miss Lady Roferos, Mr. Aljon Cana, Mr. Earl Racho, and Mr. Mark Irvin Lintogonan. So in today's case, we will talk about the grounds of disbarment of a member of a bar of the Philippines. So let us start first with what transpired to this case.
The facts of this case, complainant Victoria Barrientos was 20 years old and a resident of Bonifacio Street, Dipolog City. When she was still a teenager and her first year in college, she came to know that 41-year-old respondent, attorney Transfiguracion Daarol, as he used to go to their house, being a friend of her sister Nora. The complainant's father and mother was also close to the respondent because he was his teacher and she was his classmate back in the day. As a result, they also became friends.
On June 27, 1973, the respondent came to their house and asked her to be one of the usherettes in the Masons' convention, to which the complainant's father consented to. Thus, for 3 whole days, she served as an usherette in the convention, and the respondent picked her up from her residence every morning and took her home from the place of convention at the end of each day.
On July 1, 1973, the respondent went to the complainant's house and invited her for a quick joyride to the airport beside the beach, with the permission of her mother, which then after, the respondent confessed his love to the complainant. Then and there, the respondent told her that if she would accept him, he would marry her within 6 months from her acceptance.
After the complainant said yes to the respondent, they would frequently visit the airport. As a natural result of their regular meetings, intimate things ensued, thus making the complainant pregnant. They both agreed that the complainant would deliver the child in Manila.
During their time in Manila, the respondent reasoned out that he cannot marry the petitioner because he was already married. However, he assured that his previous wife and the respondent were estranged for 16 years and that their marriage was currently in process of being annulled. The respondent also assured the complainant with support worth 250 pesos every month.
The complainant decided to deliver the child in Cebu City. She delivered the baby girl on June 14, 1974 at Perpetual Succor Hospital in Cebu City and named her Dorisa Barrientos. When the complainant tried to contact the respondent by phone, she failed. As she was ashamed, she just stayed in their house until such time as she got sick and her father sent her back to Zamboanga City for medical treatment. Even then, the respondent did not pay a visit to the complainant.
Because of the respondent's actions, the complainant consulted a lawyer and filed an administrative case against respondent with the National Electrification Administration. The case was referred to the Zamboanga del Norte Electric Cooperative and it was dismissed, and thus she instituted the present disbarment proceedings against the respondent by reason of immoral conduct and lack of good moral character.
All right. So while it is true that there could be a genuine love story between the two of them, based on the facts presented, the respondent clearly have done a deceitful act by not being transparent with his marital status, and at the same time promising the complainant of marriage in which he couldn't really perform. So now for the presentation of the issue, let me call on the next presenter.
The issue here is whether or not Daarol should be disbarred from the Bar Association or the practice of law in the Philippines. The answer is yes. In the case of Piat versus Aborto, 58 fail 350 1933, the court ruled A good character is an essential qualification for admission of an attorney to practice. When the attorney's character is bad, in such respects as to show that he is unsafe and unfit to be trusted with the powers of an attorney, the court retains the power to discipline him.
Yes, he should be disbarred from the records. The complainant was never informed by the respondent of his real status as a married individual. The fact that his previous marriage was only disclosed only after the complainant was impregnated. Even then, respondent misrepresented himself as being eligible to remarry for having been estranged from his wife for 16 years and holds into a marriage proposal on the assurance that he would work out the annulment of his first marriage.
It was deception because the respondent never bothered to annul the marriage in the first place. More importantly, as a lawyer, respondent knew all along that mere fact of separation alone is not a ground for annulment of marriage and does not vest him legal capacity to enter another marriage. With that, the Daarol's claim that he embraced the Muslim religion does not excuse him either, since his first marriage is under the Christian religion. Therefore, it follows the civil code. This is also contradicting to his reason to Victoria that he will be charged with bigamy if he marries her.
The first ground for his disbarment is deceit and grossly immoral conduct. Rule 138, Section 27. Attorneys removed or suspended by Supreme Court on what grounds? A member of the bar may be removed or suspended from his office as attorney by the Supreme Court for any deceit, malpractice, or other gross misconduct in such office, grossly immoral conduct, or by reason of his conviction of a crime involving moral turpitude, or for any violation of the oath which he is required to take before the admission to practice, or for a willful disobedience of any lawful order of a superior court, or for corruptly or willful appearing as an attorney for a party to a case without authority to do so. The practice of soliciting cases at law for the purpose of gain, either personally or through paid agents or brokers, constitutes malpractice.
Second, we have lack of good moral character. Rule 138, Section 2, requirements for all applicants for admission to the bar. Every applicant for admission as a member of the bar must be a citizen of the Philippines, at least 21 years of age, of good moral character, and resident of the Philippines, and must produce before the Supreme Court satisfactory evidence of good moral character and that no charges against him involving moral turpitude have been filed or are pending in any courts in the Philippines.
Thus, we find respondent Transfiguration Daarol guilty of grossly immoral conduct, unworthy of being a member of the bar, and is hereby ordered disbarred, and his name is stricken off from the roll of attorneys. Let copies of this resolution be furnished to all courts of the land, the Integrated Bar of the Philippines, the Office of the Bar Confidant, and spread on the personal record of respondent Daarol.
Now, the practice of law is a privilege accorded only to those who measure up to the standards of mental and moral fitness. Respondent exhibited based morality. The court is constrained to impose upon him the most severe disciplinary action. As an officer of the court, lawyers must not only in fact be of good moral character, but must also be seen to be a good moral character and must lead a life in accordance with the highest moral standards of the community. More specifically, a member of a bar and an officer of the court is not only required to refrain from adulterous relationships or keeping off mistresses, but must also behave himself in such a manner as to avoid scandalizing to the public by creating the belief that he is floating those moral standards. So this is an excerpt from Toledo versus Toledo, 7 SCRA 757. So this ends our presentation for this case, and thank you so much for listening. And I hope you learned something from our presentation. So please comment down below If you have any suggestions or thoughts, once again, thank you so much and stay safe, everyone.